I'm a grown-up woman and I never had an orgasm. Is there something wrong with me? Or can you give me a few tips? Here's a question that I got. I'm a grown-up woman and I never had an orgasm. Is there something wrong with me? Or can you give me a few tips? Now, I know that there are women who never had an orgasm. And most of them didn't have an orgasm because they never really thought about it or tried it or weren't sure where to start. But I also know that having an orgasm, a lot of it is going in your head. It's between your ears. It's in your brain. Which is awesome because it means that you can do something about it. Now, I had an older woman in my environment and she's a really, really good friend of mine. And she called me and she was 58, I think. And at one point she called me and she said, I just had my first orgasm ever. She was 58, she was married for 20 years and she never had an orgasm in her life. That's possible. And for her, it was because she was from a generation where it apparently, a generation and a background where it wasn't really normal to see sex as something that you can do just to enjoy each other and to create connection and everything. So that was her excuse or their excuse, because I would also tell her partner that he might have had something to do with it anyway. So she finally managed to find it out. But if you, the woman that asked me this question, she told me that she was already working on it and she was like trying to masturbate, to play with herself. And she really couldn't find a way to get over the edge. She said like, I'm really enjoying it. And it's just that like that last piece, I'm scared. And I can imagine, because getting an orgasm has everything to do with letting go of control. And if you're scared, you're gonna block it. And it's possible. So I'm gonna give you a few tips. If you are ever struggling with having orgasms, and these tips are also wonderful if you do have orgasms, but they're very rare. First of all, it's a lot easier to get orgasms when you're alone. Because then there is no pressure. You don't have to. Nobody is telling you what to do. It doesn't mean that you fail if you don't get an orgasm. It also doesn't mean that your partner is failing, because that's also what that's why we fake it, right? It's not because of us. It's because we want to give our partner the idea that they didn't fail. Which is, to me, it doesn't fit anymore in a relationship, because a relationship should be built on honesty, especially a power exchange relationship. But I can also imagine and understand what it comes from. But so if you want to make sure that you create the ideal environment for you to get your first orgasm, make sure that you're alone and that you have all the time in the world and that you cannot be disturbed. Now, here's what you do. First of all, you're going to use lube. Now, you probably never ever had lube in your life. Maybe you did. But I was 30, I think, 35. When I discovered lube, because I thought that lube was only meant for anal sex. But lube is very, very wonderful if you want to have sex with yourself as well. Especially when you get a little bit older and it doesn't get wet that easily anymore. But even if you're younger, it just makes it a lot more smooth. If you're playing with yourself for an hour, at one point it does get a bit raw. And so I would just recommend, just buy a bit of lube. I use KY for pretty much everything. But you can also use coconut oil, for instance. Whatever you use, try that one, have it at hand and play with yourself. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is, after you created the space that for you works, is you're just going to play with yourself. You're going to put a timer and you're just starting for 10 minutes, for instance. 10 minutes and that's all. And you're not allowed to come. You're not allowed to come. That takes the pressure off. Now, after that, you're doing it for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. And you're doing it the whole week until you build it up for 70 minutes. You're still not allowed to come. You will start to feel that there is something changes and that you can relax more into it. And just try to enjoy the process. Because what often happens is we're so focused on the result that we want to get to, that we forget to enjoy the whole process. And there is so much to learn. And you just use the time to feel for you what excites you, what is a turn on, what is not, what parts of your body you can touch that you love and what parts of your body you don't. Now, the next thing that you're gonna do is you're still not gonna orgasm. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna find ways to increase your arousal. So I'm just closing my eyes. I'm starting to play with myself. I really need to get into the mood. So usually I play with myself for a few minutes and then I just let it go and just my mind wanders off and I'm just gonna fantasize about all the things that I really like. Another thing is to watch porn. Now, there are people who say that they don't like porn or that porn is not turning them on. I need to meet the first person who is not turned on by porn. I did meet quite a few people who said they don't want to watch porn, but there usually is something else going on. Either they're afraid of what they're doing, especially when you're coming from a Christian background. It might be that porn for you is like, it's something that you don't do. It's not good for your relationship. It's you can get addicted to it. That's true, but you can get addicted to pretty much anything. The whole point is not to get addicted, but to get the joy out of it. And just find the porn that you like and that is exciting for you. And if it's very rough porn, don't feel offended, don't feel guilty about it. Just for now, this is the time that you can do it. And you're gonna play with yourself a week long for an hour at the time. And you're just gonna do everything that you want. You can use vibrators, you can watch porn, you can fantasize. Anything that turns you on you can use for an hour a day, but you're still not allowed to orgasm. Now is the time that probably something happens with you. And now you get to the point that you think like, I would actually like to have an orgasm. And you're like really, really starting to enjoy it and to look forward to it. So you played with yourself for 2 whole weeks and you still didn't get to the point that you got an orgasm or anything. You didn't even try. It might be that you edged in the meantime. Edging means that you played with yourself and that you felt that you were about to orgasm, but because you are not allowed to, because I told you to, you're not allowed to, you're gonna let it go and you're gonna release that kind of tension, so you just stop playing with yourself for a few minutes before you keep on continuing. That's great. If you can master the art of edging, that means that you can build up your sexual energy and it will give you a lot more power to actually orgasm, and the orgasm will be freaking amazing the moment that it happens. So let's make sure that now we create the best environment ever to actually get your orgasm. So plan a night that you're gonna have an orgasm. And what you're gonna do is for the first hour, you're just gonna play with yourself. You're just gonna make sure that you're really turned on, that you're gonna watch something that is turning you on. I would suggest to take a wand. I made a video about the wand as well. I would recommend to watch it. But what is so good about a wand is also, it's a vibrator, but it's a one that's very strong. And it's used in power exchange relationships or in kinky couples use it because you can use it to force orgasms. And forcing an orgasm means that you're going to get an orgasm whether you want it or not. Use that one. So after you played for yourself with an hour and you're really in the mood, you're going to take the wand and you put it on your clit. Because there are many ways that you can have an orgasm. But for a woman, the clit is the most sensitive part of your body, and most women are capable of having a clit orgasm. So that's what you're gonna do. You put the wand on your clit and you're just gonna let it go. You're just gonna relax into it, take a few deep breaths, and you're just gonna enjoy what's going on. Just imagine that you're stepping into a roller coaster and you're gonna have this, like, I don't know what that's called, like the thing that is pushing you in your chair. There's no way back because it's riding off. That's what's gonna happen. And you're just gonna, you put the wand on your clit. You just leave it there. Don't touch it, don't move it around. Find the best place where it should be. And all you're gonna do is wait until the orgasm is taking over for you. And that's all that's gonna happen now. Then you can celebrate, have a great time. And I would love to hear from you in the comments whether you tried it and what your results were and how it was for you. So I'm wishing you a wonderful time. Play with passion.